Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're having a great day today. I'm going to say hi to everyone who's in the chat first, and then we'll get into talking about some stuff because, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X have issues at launch. Systems always have issues at launch. But I want to talk about the issues, of course, and then I also want to get into the weirdness of fanboyism. It's leading to a lot of, I guess, dishonesty going on out there. It's leading to a lot of just bad takes and bad vibes in a time when pretty much everyone should be happy. I mean, Nintendo fans, we have obviously Age of Calamity coming next week, the possibility of new hardware next year, plus a huge slate of games next year, Monster Hunter Rise, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. There's just a couple that we know about. There's going to be a heck of a lot more next year. We know it's the 35th anniversary of Zelda and Metroid, so expecting something from those franchises wouldn't be too far-fetched. Obviously, with Xbox Series X and S, Microsoft fans have a brand new system out there. So quick resume and all these cool features, old games playing better than they've ever played before for you guys. Game Pass is a huge deal. Yes, there's the promise of big exclusives next year as well, Medium and Halo Infinite and several other games. Obviously, PlayStation 5, reasons to be excited there. Obviously, just got a new Spider-Man game and Miles Morales. Obviously, the remake of Demon's Souls. Sackboy is actually a really, really great game. If people are just, for some reason, not talking about. Obviously, the launch of the PlayStation 5, and yes, a whole bunch of new PS5 games next year as well. So, honestly, everyone should be pretty happy. Even PC gamers always have stuff to look forward to. Brand new technology coming out. We just had the launch of 3000 series GPUs, 5000 series Ryzen CPUs, and obviously we had the 6000 series AMD Radeon GPUs coming as well. So there's a lot of reasons to be excited. Always new PC games coming out. Always new indie games coming out. It's a great time to be a gamer, is what I'm trying to say. And there's an echo. There's an echo. Gotcha. Echo's done. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. The echo was coming from this. For those that want to know. I had my lav mic hooked up. So anyways. That's what the echo was. So, yeah, it's a great time to be a gamer, right? All these systems, all these games, pretty much everybody who cares about video games, even if you game on your phone, gaming on your phone is better than it's ever been, you know? This is one of those iPhone 12s or whatever, those new ones. Like, dude, gaming on this is better than I've ever experienced on a phone. So, like, gaming in general is just in a really good spot. And this isn't even getting into Luna, Google Stadia, xCloud, which is available in beta on Android. Like, there's streaming services, there's physical games, there's digital games. Like, gaming is great. The old consoles are still getting games. Xbox One and PlayStation 4 are still getting games like Miles Morales. You don't have to buy a PlayStation 5 to play Miles Morales. Play it right on your PlayStation 4 that's nice and cheap. Like, there's just a lot of options for gamers right now. Nintendo's got you covered if you like portable, and PC has you covered if you like the best of the best. You have brand new systems out there to take advantage of your 4K TVs that have become cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. Everything is just looking good. But there's issues. There's always issues. So before I get into those issues, I'm going to say hi to everyone in the chat. I got a couple articles up here. We're going to go off articles. Of note, Microsoft has a thing on their website of known Xbox Series X/S issues. These are issues that they knew before the system even came out. But we're not going to go over those issues because the fact that Microsoft already knows about those issues is kind of a sign that, hey, they already knew before they brought the system out that these were a problem. They're almost all software related. They'll be fixed in some patches and stuff. Same is true for Sony. On Sony's website, there are some known PlayStation 5 issues. These were released before the system came out. I didn't talk about it for either platform because these known issues were things that Sony was obviously going to fix, that Microsoft obviously going to fix because they already knew these were a problem before the systems came out. You can argue these problems should have been fixed before the systems came out, but it is what it is. It's actually the issues that are happening that these companies didn't have listed on their website that I'm interested in. So we got some articles on those issues. First, let me shout out everyone in the chat. We got, let me see, Han Solo here. We got the Clickbaiter 3 here. Brian C. Only It's Me Read 1. FNA F Master number 1. Liaz Anding. Corey Bohm is here. Let's see here. Ahmad Sak is here. Animator is here. I guess. Sorry, let me see. Flying Puppy ZX here is here. Obi-Wan Kenobi is here. Let me see here. Wraithy is here. Adam Butters is here. Solomon Caesar is here. Let's see here. I'm a Pumpkin is here. Scrolling on down. Police Officer Pinata is here. St. Lou is here. Scrolling on down. Unknown is here. Birdman is here. Let's see here. Thank you, Corey Bohm, though. He's super chatting to get me to notice that echo thing. I knew that it was. I thought I had it muted, but it's all right. We're fixed now. Let's see here. Alpha Assassin is here. Zedek, we already said that person. Scrolling on down. John B, a.k.a. Smooth Chocolate, is here. Logan LeBlanc is here. Let's see. Hatim Elamuladi is here. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much. We also have a new subscriber that just happened. Toph Krug, thank you so much for subscribing. All right. So let's get into known issues. And we're going to start actually with Xbox because people are under the impression, because I put out a video yesterday, that I am giving Xbox a pass. I am not giving Xbox Series X a pass. There are some issues that I've noticed. They seem kind of minor. But first, let's get into the known Xbox Series X issues. This is on an article by Game Rant. I'll put it on screen for you guys. All right, I'll scoot over here. So it says, I know it's kind of weird because I'm looking over here, but whatever, go with it, guys. Every known Xbox Series X launch problem. This was put up 19 hours ago. All right. So, Xbox Series X shutting down. There have been multiple reports of the Xbox Series X simply shutting down. Most common, this seems to occur when loading up a game, but it doesn't seem to be caused directly by the game. It has happened with everything from Assassin's Creed Valhalla to Ori, and as of now, Microsoft has yet to issue any statement here. Hopefully there is something that can't be fixed, or that can be fixed with a system patch, and it's not actual hardware fault, but the only resolution for now seems to be booting it back up and hoping it isn't causing long-term damage if it is hardware problem. There are similar reports on this also being caused by playing Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which, by the way, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is actually having issues on both systems. So Activision, get your shit together. But anyways, with the problem here, but not in every shutdown instance, being that the Xbox One version of the game is installed. Players will need to make sure they upgrade to the Xbox Series X Black Ops Edition Cold War to avoid shutdowns while playing. Again, bad on you, Activision. All right, moving on. What a surprise. Activision rushed something to new systems that wasn't ready. The Xbox Series X controller desyncing and not pairing with the console. Some users are encountering a problem where the controller appears to disconnect from the Xbox Series X during use, and using the pair button doesn't reconnect the two. Seemingly, the problem may lie in the controller. While once again, a patch may hopefully be able to fix it. Nonetheless, the exact cause has not been pinpointed, but there are a couple easy fixes. Players can attempt to hardwire the Xbox controller to the console. It's a USB-C, so you just get, a USB-A to USB-C cable. Let me see here. Wait for about 3 to 5 seconds and then unhook it and it'll be working again. So that's just a quick little, hey, you're directly plugging the controller in. Of course, it'll resync then. If without a USB-C port or if it doesn't work, resetting the console appears to fix the issue as well. So a hard reset of the console. Xbox Series X correct 4K display. When attempting to play with select HDMI 2.1 TVs at 4K resolutions with 120 Hz and variable refresh rate support, some players may meet a no signal or corrupted image. No workaround has been identified at this time, though making sure the TV is updated and playing around with those specific settings may help. Not something I've experienced with my Series X, but I also don't have 120 Hz 4K display. I have experienced 120 Hz gaming on it, but it was on a 1080p monitor. I did not experience it on a 4K TV, so I haven't seen this issue with variable refresh rate. But again, it's something that exists out there that just personally, I don't think most people will experience, because I don't think most people have 120 Hz variable refresh rate HDR 4K televisions. They're not exactly cheap to have all those features, but it is something that those that do have those displays are dealing with right now. Xbox Series X strange noises. There are some reports of strange noises coming from the Xbox Series X. Although in all reports, it should be noted that no mechanical failure or other severe issue has actually been identified by a noise. For now, fans should keep an eye on the noise and look for acknowledgement from Microsoft. I haven't seen anything. The closest I've seen on this was one video out there that was related to the vaping stuff, and it was confirmed by Microsoft that entire video was faked, including the noise. So while these complaints might exist, I haven't seen proof, but that's okay. It doesn't mean it's not real. Xbox Series X app issues. Microsoft has acknowledged issues with Remote Play, Peacock TV, BBC iPlayer, as well as issues with capturing screenshots and recordings. There are no known fixes for these at this time, but at least in regards to the captures and recordings, they should be fixed with an update seemingly set for this November. That is actually an issue. Microsoft did acknowledge that there's some issues with the share button, but they have acknowledged it, and they're working on a patch, so that should be fixed pretty soon. I haven't tried to capture video clips with my share button yet, just screenshots. Screenshot functionality seems to work. There also seems to be an HDR issue, where if you do a screenshot of an HDR image, the image is actually appearing much darker than it does in real HDR, leading to some things being undesirable. So that's something that is a known issue from Microsoft. So that's a share issues. They'll get that fixed. This little app issue thing is not too big of a concern in my opinion. Xbox Series X Smart Delivery and Quick Resume. Smart Delivery titles may result in the game not recognizing the game is fully installed, typically occurring due to moving the game from an external hard drive to the SSD. To correct this, fans will need to restart the console. So it's kind of like a you move the game over, but it didn't. This is with backwards compatibility. You move the game from an external hard drive, internal, or back and forth. There's some handling issues there that seemingly just rebooting the system fixes the handling issue. Again, that'll be fixed in a software update, I'm sure. We see a few titles are also not quick resuming correctly. Microsoft is working on a fix. Some titles have had the feature disabled while attempting this fix. Yeah, basically what happens is there's some titles you go to quick resume and then the game will crash. And then you can start it up again, which, by the way, booting games is super quick. The big issue with quick resume is when you're booting up games super quick, even from fresh. When you're dealing with quick resume has a save state feature, but if the game crashes, the save state goes away. So that's kind of a problem where people might be like, hey, I didn't exactly save my game. I was just swapping between games, and then I was going to go back, and now I lost my progress because the game crashed. Granted, you should still save your game even if you are using quick resume, but that's just something that obviously Microsoft needs to address. And I'll talk about my experiences with minor issues I've had with the Series X as well over the last few days. Some of it dealing with quick resume. Series X, something went wrong, error. The above error message affects some games when launching. The best fix is to uninstall and reinstall, re-download the affected title. Xbox Series X headphone game / chat audio mix. Some third-party headsets. I don't use headsets on my systems, but some third-party headsets won't allow players to adjust game chats / audio mix when paired with the Xbox Series X controller. There's no fix as of yet, but players can still adjust the audio mix via the Xbox on-screen guide. So there's still a way to do it. It's just not as easy as it was on the Xbox One. Xbox 360 backwards compatible games not working on the Series X. Launching Xbox 360 games on the Series X is forcing some users back to the dashboard instead of playing the game. And to correct this issue, fans will need to clean the Xbox 360 storage. This can be done via settings, system, storage, clear local Xbox 360 storage. So I don't know if there's corrupt files. I'm not exactly sure what's causing there. Obviously, the fact that if you clear the storage or clean it, suddenly it works suggests that there's potential of some corruptness between bringing those game files over. Simple fix. We deal with this on PC sometimes. You guys ever upgrade hardware on PC and then you got to clear some settings or clear some stuff to reset the game a little bit. You get to keep your game save, of course, and then the game works. It seems like a similar thing here. Pretty familiar for me as a PC gamer, but I can understand why that's annoying for console people who have never had to deal with issues like PC users do. Xbox Series X early adapters shouldn't worry too much is what it says in the end. Most of this stuff is all software related and will be fixed. So let's get into PlayStation 5. These are the PlayStation 5 issues that are being reported out there widely. So let's get into this. All right. Can't connect to the PlayStation Network. Some users have reported issues connecting and downloading games from the PlayStation Network. If you're experiencing issues, the best thing to do is to check your internet connection and try again. You can also check the network service status to see if there's a greater issue with the service. There's a huge influx of users trying to sign in. So that sounds more like a... this issue actually happened in the first couple hours of the Xbox Series X being up as well. Basically, the servers were blasted. People couldn't log in. It's probably not an issue anymore. That was literally a launch day only issue. That happens with any service that requires an internet connection. I mean, World of Warcraft, on its launch day of its new upcoming X-Pack, the servers are going to crash. That's what happens. So that's not, I wouldn't consider that an issue. That's just expected. PS5 installs or stalls upon restart. There have been reports of users trying to restart their console only for their console to hang on the restart screen. If you find yourself hung up on the screen, you may have a bigger issue on your hands. That's never good. Having a system hang when you boot, that's a big no-no. Even on PC, that's a big no-no. You do not want your systems hanging. Could be a sign of hardware failure. That's not good. Ongoing power issues with your PlayStation 5. If your PS5 loses power shortly after you turn it on, or won't turn on at all, crashes, or freezes while playing, or turns off while playing, your PlayStation 5 might be down for the count and suffering from an internal power issue. If that happens, you'll have to troubleshoot on the PlayStation website to find out if you're eligible for a console repair. There have been users reporting that using an extended storage unit will cause your PlayStation 5 to shut off. These are plugging in external hard drives. Basically, you want to get your PlayStation 4 library over. Something that they claim it supports, but I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you own a PlayStation 5, do not plug in an external hard drive. Just don't. Until Sony gives you the all clear and every functionality of that external hard drive, including transferring games back and forth, including storing PlayStation 5 games on it, are confirmed to work by Sony, just don't. Just don't. It's causing all sorts of problems with PlayStation 5. Do not plug in external hard drives. Just don't. This is the part of this is an external hard drive issue. Just don't do it. I don't know why it's a problem, but don't. Issues with data transfer after initial setup. Users have also reported that using the rear USB ports or LAN cable for data transfer after the initial setup will cause issues with your PlayStation 5. If you find yourself in a need of a USB port, try the port on the front of the console. So now there's reports that if you use the ports on the back of the system, there's a problem, but use the ones on the front, you're fine. Now, for me, when I get my PlayStation 5, I won't have to worry about the LAN port so much. It supports Wi-Fi 6, which is practically as fast as my LAN port, and I have a Wi-Fi 6 router. So not really probably a problem for me. I'll leave my Xbox hardwired in since that's only on Wi-Fi 5, but still something to consider there, that for some reason, something about the back ports and the way things are designed on the software are causing problems, but if you use the front USB port, there isn't. I don't really know. These are just being reported. I don't own a PlayStation 5 at the moment. I will hopefully soon, so that I can see, if I have any of these issues. Rest mode, crashing the console. Rest mode is a feature not new to Sony hardware. What rest mode does is it suspends your game, unlocks remote play and control features, and keeps your game and game saves up to date. Unfortunately, there are reports that using rest mode on your PlayStation 5 will cause a critical error, causing crashes that require database rebuilding and may brick your console. Notice? So one thing I'm noticing, okay, I'm reading this for the first time, by the way. One thing I'm noticing when I read about the issues with the Xbox Series X and the issue with the PlayStation 5, there's a lot of this bricks your system on PlayStation 5 versus this is a software thing and can be fixed on Series X. It's really weird that a lot of the PlayStation 5 issues are dude, this could brick your system, and this could brick your system, and this could brick your system. And in Series X, it's a lot of, I don't know. This isn't even a fanboy thing. You see me guys reading the articles here. All these issues are really bad on PlayStation 5 in comparison to what Series X has. I'm not trying to push a narrative. That's just the facts. The facts of the situation at the moment. So this feels bad. I just read off all the Series X issues. Now we're getting the PlayStation 5, and then literally every other issue is oh, this could brick your system. Don't plug anything into your system but the power cord and an HDMI cable or something. Holy crud. All right. Let me see. Until Sony releases an update, best thing to do is to turn off rest mode on your PlayStation 5. Then it explains how to turn rest mode off. Let's see here. Problems transferring PlayStation 4 data to PlayStation 5. Again, PlayStation 4 users could transfer existing save data and profiles over to the PlayStation 5. Some users, however, have experienced issues with the transfer process, including but not limited to exorbitantly long transfer times, loss of data, or full hardware failure. What is... every issue could potentially lead to your system being, basically, for me, this is all a non-issue, by the way. I'm not going to experience a lot of these issues on PlayStation 5 when I get one because I didn't own a PlayStation 4. So when I go to buy a PlayStation 5, I'm going to be setting up a brand new account, and I'm going to be using it as if I've never played a Sony system before. And it seems like if I'm just someone who's never played a Sony system before and bought a PlayStation 5, I'll be fine because I'm just using it as a PlayStation 5. I might download some games from the PlayStation Network or something, assuming it's up. But it's like I'm not going to be experiencing a lot of this stuff because a lot of it seems to be dealing with, one, using the LAN port, which I wasn't planning to use. Two, plugging in an external hard drive, which I wasn't planning to do. 3, backwards compatibility. Now, the one issue with the rest mode, that's something I might have ran into because I use rest mode, of course, just like, even on the Xbox Series X, when you shut down your system, when you hold on the X button and you shut down your system, you're not really fully shutting down the system. You want to fully shut it down, you got to go up and hold the power button on the system. But, like, it's a pseudo rest mode that boots up like this, like, within like 2-3 seconds. That's something I would obviously use on PlayStation 5. So that would be potentially, out of all the issues on this list, one that I could run into. So let's see here. Updating the DualSense controller. During the initial setup of your PlayStation 5, you are required to plug in your DualSense controller and download an update for it. Make sure you keep the controller plugged in through the entirety of the update. Unplugging the controller may cause connectivity issues between your controller and the console. If this happens, try re-downloading the PlayStation 5 update and trying it. That's just I wouldn't even call this a bug or an issue. That's just standard. If you interrupt a piece of hardware in the middle of it updating, there's going to be a problem and you're going to have to redo it. I don't feel that's an issue. That shouldn't be on this list. That's just common sense, in my opinion. I know common sense isn't so common, but this is one thing. Give this to Sony. This is just anything. You're updating your Switch in the middle of an update installing and you unplug the battery or whatever. I know it's really hard to do on Switch, but I'm just saying that this would be an issue in general, so I wouldn't worry about this. HD camera or PlayStation camera not connecting. Now, a lot of people might not notice this because they don't own the cameras, but many new accessories are coming to the PlayStation 5, but not without their own set of issues. Some users have reported receiving an error code, CE111161-1, while trying to use a camera on their PlayStation 5. If you come across this error, troubleshoot it by doing the following steps. Most people won't experience that because I don't think most people are going to be buying that PlayStation 5 camera, but you never know. PlayStation 5 known app and bug issues. The new PlayStation 5 is backwards compatible with 99% of the PlayStation 4 library. It features a ton of new apps, as well as plenty of well-worn apps from previous console generations. You may come across some media apps that are incompatible with the PlayStation 5, but fixes are on the horizon. So that's not even a bug. That happens. So there's just some apps, maybe it's a Netflix, maybe it's a Hulu, or whatever, where it doesn't quite work on PlayStation 5 yet, but that happens on phones as well. We just got this new phone, and I have an issue with certain apps not working on here yet because they need to be updated. So I wouldn't really put that on there. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War not working. So I've talked about this. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War has issues on both systems. There is something up. Activision did a really bad job getting this game ready for next gen. Black Ops Call of Duty Cold War is the latest in the long-running Call of Duty franchise, this time releasing as a cross-gen title for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. Some users who have the cross-gen version of Call of Duty are having problems booting the game on their PlayStation 5. Luckily, the solution is just a short click away. On the main menu, head to Call of Duty's Black Ops Cold War menu icon and down to the play button. Next to the play button, press the icon with the 3 dots. A list should pop up from there. Select the PlayStation 5 version, and the next-gen version should become available. So that's one issue. PlayStation 4 games are being labeled as unplayable. Some users have reported trouble while trying to play some of their PS4 games. The PS5 is labeling certain games as unplayable, requiring players to repurchase the title in the store. Sony has previously stated the PlayStation 4 library is backwards compatible with the PlayStation 5, except for a short list of titles. This seems to be a minor bug affecting some older PlayStation 4 games. If you find yourself confronted with this issue, you may need to restore your license on PlayStation 5. To do so, follow these following steps. Stuck in a download queue. PlayStation 5 is suffering from a bug that causes games and apps to freeze in a queued for download state or won't let users download it at all. Essentially, your app download is stuck in limbo. The bug is not limited to just games, as users have had problems downloading video apps, like the Disney Plus app. A full factory reset of the console fixes the issue. Dude, factory resets, that's not good. That's a pain in the butt for consumers to full factory reset things to fix problems. So there you go. That is the known issues. One thing you notice on there, there's no smoking coming from the Xbox Series X listed as an issue because that was caused by vape pens. Microsoft literally can't believe they had to put out tweets and updates saying, hey, don't blow vape smoke into your Xbox Series X. There's probably other issues besides these as well. These are ones that just have had a number of users reporting it that makes them real. Now, I own an Xbox Series X. There have been a couple issues. I've noticed sometimes I will load a game and the game won't load. And then I click on it again, or I put my thing over it, I hit A on it again, and then it'll load. I think this is quick resume crashing because the game, I've noticed this specifically with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I think what'll happen is, I had a quick resume and then I turn the system off. When I turn it back on, it has an issue bringing that quick resume right back up. So then when I select the game, it crashes it, and then I select it again and it reloads. It's weird. It doesn't really bother me, but it is something that happens, and I'm pretty sure it's related to quick resume, specifically after you shut the console down through holding down the X button on the controller. So I've noticed that. I've also noticed one issue with a cross-gen title. I have one cross-gen title that has two different versions on my system. Madden 21. I bought it. I have a Xbox One version and I have an Xbox Series X version. Both of them are installed on the system for some reason. I didn't want both installed, so I'll have two icons. If you select the one icon, it'll bring up a little menu and it'll say, hey, launch the Xbox Series X version. And you're like, okay. You select that and nothing happens. You have to go find the other Madden 21 icon to load the game. So for some reason, and I saw this in real time, the game fully installed twice. I don't understand. Is the Series X keeping an Xbox One version and an Xbox Series X version that's completely separate on the system, but one of them you can't even load? So why are you installing that version? Why is the system installing a version you can't use? That is an issue I've noticed. Again, very minor stuff, except when you're running, bumping up the storage issues. Also, I will say this. On both systems, the storage issues, a little bit overblown. And I'm guilty of this as well. Now that I have a system on hand, I'm completely fine with the available 850 gigabytes on the Xbox Series X. I do not feel like I need to upgrade anytime soon. I'm doing fine with my storage. I'm sure the same is true for most PlayStation 5 owners. The games are not quite as big as people feared. Even Cold War is not the 250 gigs people feared it was going to be. So the storage space ended up being a little bit overblown. Are you going to need to expand your storage eventually? Yes. If you own an Xbox Series S, are you going to need to expand your storage even sooner? Absolutely. And yes, I can confirm game files are smaller on the Series S than the Series X. They do not have 4K assets on the Series S. So it does lead to smaller game files. You'll still need to upgrade it eventually. Everyone's going to need to upgrade their systems eventually. It's also of note that when I talk about the storage issues maybe not being as big an issue as we initially thought they would be, there aren't that many next-gen games. It's cross-gen. Almost all the like Miles Morales, it's a cross-gen game. The only next-gen game is what? Demon's Souls, a remake of a PlayStation 3 game? We don't really have any next-gen games, so we don't really know how much the storage is going to be affected until games are made for only next-gen. So Call of Duty isn't as big as we feared it was going to be, but would a next-gen only Call of Duty that isn't cross-gen, how big would that be? We don't know. We don't know how big the games are going to be, and the thing is, we're not going to know for a year or two. So the storage, I guess, really probably won't be a problem until 2022. Maybe holiday 2021 if we get some exclusive holiday games that are just for these systems. So those are the known issues that have enough people complaining about it to make note of it. You can go on, Reddit and Twitter and YouTube and find other people having some one-off issues. The coil wind issues with PlayStation 5 is an example. You can find people having other issues, but they're not enough complaints to warrant putting them in these articles. So what does this mean? This means that obviously there's a lot of issues with these systems at launch, a lot more issues than there probably should be with these systems at launch, especially from a software perspective. A lot of the software bugs should have been patched before the system came out. Now, hardware bugs, that's what I find to be most interesting. I think this is why it feels like I've been harping on PlayStation 5 more than Xbox Series X, because all these bugs, and you guys saw me go through the bug list on Android Central here, it has no reason to be biased against Sony. went through the bug list, they could brick your system. Think about it. Bricking your system. That makes it feel like whatever's happening with the handling of the software and the hardware is extremely easy to brick. I don't know why that's the case. That just seems to be that every issue on PlayStation can lead to bricking your system. And that's not good. I don't know if it's because of the SSD. I don't know if it's because of the RAM or the liquid metal. Liquid metal shouldn't really be the problem. So I don't know what the cause is. I just know that it seems a hell of a lot easier to brick your PlayStation 5 than it is to brick a Series X. Not saying people haven't bricked a Series X. You'll probably find a one-off case where a Series X is bricked. Same with the Series S. Although I haven't actually heard it. I haven't heard of too many issues with Series S. There seems to be less issues with Series S. Maybe because it's dealing with lower resolutions. I don't know. So I want to be fair. They both have issues. But one thing I don't like, and I want to bring this up because I put up a video yesterday talking about some issues with the PlayStation 5, and it got a lot of views. Relatively to a lot of my videos, it got a lot of views, right? You look at this, it has 8K views, but it's got only a 76% like to dislike ratio, which is not very good for my channel. So I'm going to open this up, and we're just going to glance at some of the comments. Because the comments, I feel like, give a good feel of fanboyism. And again, I know this is going to point out some Sony fans. It's just as bad on the other side of the aisle with Xbox. And as a Nintendo fan, we all know how bad Nintendo fans can be sometimes. So I'm just going to load this up here, go to new comments, and just kind of scroll through this here and show you some of the stuff I'm reading. This one saying they had no issues. Nothing wrong with that. Staying away from PlayStation 5, that's fine. Let's see here. So another person, this is defending. So like this is so this is just someone defending the issues. He's being kind about it. But he's talking about how my videos clickbait and other videos like it are clickbait. How most users PlayStation 5 is maybe having zero issues. Most users PlayStation 5 is a silent assassin. 0.2%. He's just making up figures. He has no idea how many users are having issues with PlayStation 5 or not. He's got no clue. So he's just making up facts. I don't know how many people are having issues either. Don't own one, so I can't. It's hard for me to even talk about it from a first-hand experience. You don't know what you're talking about. Just do any research on the Xbox Series X console, which is irrelevant to the point of Sony's console having problems. What does doing research on the Xbox Series X have to do with Sony's issues? And I just showed you research on both the Series X and PlayStation 5, and unfortunately, yeah, the PlayStation 5 issues are significantly more serious than the Series X issues. I'm just giving facts. These aren't like personal opinions. These are what is being reported, what is being shown, is that yes, both systems have issues. But the Series X issues are less severe. We're not talking about bricking systems like we are with PlayStation 5. So I don't know what you want me to say. This is not a personal opinion. I'm not talking about which console I prefer because I don't own a PlayStation 5. I can't even have that conversation yet. I want to own a PlayStation 5. We're raising money down here for a PlayStation 5. Use the Streamlabs link down in the description if you want to support getting a PlayStation 5 for the channel. But yeah. And if you're wondering why don't you have to fundraise for a Series X? I was able to get a Series X pre-order in because of the way the pre-orders were handled with PlayStation 5. I unfortunately couldn't get a pre-order in, so that's why I don't have one on hand right now. All right, let's see here. Is there an issue? You have a warranty. That is true. Let's see here. This guy talks a lot of sense. Hey! Thank you. Here's someone talking about a Series X issue, which is totally fine. It froze on startup on the 10th of November before I installed on day one update. Restarted, no more issues since. So the freezing on startup issue, that was because it couldn't connect to the server. This was actually this was just like the PlayStation Network issue on day one. It couldn't connect to the server because there was too many people connected. So it would get stuck on like the spinning wheel, and then the spinning wheel would just stop and it would just sit there indefinitely. That was because it couldn't connect. That was a connection issue to the servers. Scary for consumers who don't realize what's going on, but we've now known post-launch that it was because the Xbox servers were crashing from too many people trying to get on. So that's what that issue was, and that's why they haven't had any issues since, because it was just all about connection problems to the server. Looks scarier than it really was, but hey, it was an issue. Well known that was happening on launch day. Same with the PlayStation Network on launch day for PlayStation 5. This one said I had my Series X freeze on me, and I've had problems with the disk drive not wanting to release the disk. Disk drive issues. That is something that wasn't brought up in the article, but I've heard more about disk drive issues than I've heard about anything else with Series X. Haven't had any issues with it yet. But again, so the problems do exist with the Series X. I never said problems don't. Let me see here. 0 issues whatsoever. This person calling it a fanboy video because I point out issues with the PlayStation 5 for some reason. Let me see here. You sound like an Xbox fanboy. I agree the PlayStation 5 is having issues, but I've also had issues on my Xbox the first day. The video's about PlayStation 5. Okay? I'm doing a stream right now that points out issues in both. I don't... What do you want me to say? Let me see. All the issues you mentioned will easily be fixed with an update in the near future. You just sound bitter because you can't find one. All the issues that are mentioned about PlayStation 5 could brick your system. You can't fix a brick system. Once the system's bricked, it's bricked. I mean, we all have warranties, but some people that have put their PlayStation 5 through the warranty process, you know, they're not going to get one for 3 weeks. Maybe a month. Enough wasting time on your shitty biased? I think he's trying to say biased. Pretty sure he was trying to say biased channel. I'm off to play the best day one console exclusive ever released, Demon Souls. I want to just point something out here. I want to point something out about Demon Souls. I got to show you guys the comments here. I'll show you guys the comments. I got to point something out about Demon Souls. If we're talking about Demon Souls as the best launch day exclusive in the history of gaming, think about how much that is a hit piece on launch games. That means that we pretty much have never had a good launch game in the history of gaming. Mario 64 never happened. This is the greatest launch game in the history. A remake of a PlayStation 3 game that plays exactly like the PlayStation 3 game. It looks pretty as hell. Demon Souls looks amazing visually. But gameplay-wise, it's the same game. They even talked about how proud they were that gameplay-wise it was the same game. So it's fine if this person loves Demon Souls. But to call it like the greatest launch day one console exclusive ever released, a remake? This isn't even biased. This is just a remake. A remake is the greatest launch day exclusive ever. It's not even exclusive. Play the game on PlayStation 3. Go put it. It's not even exclusive. Go play it on PlayStation 3. It's an old game. It's a great game. I'm not knocking it. It's just, really? Great. Like, I'm biased? Think about this. Enough wasting time on your shitty, biased channel. I'm off to play the best day one console exclusive ever released. A remake of a PlayStation 3 game. I mean... Sony's had better launch games that were actually new. Not a new game. It's not a new game. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. How could that be? It just sets me off when you talk about best launch day exclusive of all time and it's a remake. Are we to the point now where remakes are considered like this big accomplishment for new games? Like, yes, it introduces more gamers to it. Yes, if you're a fan of Demon Souls, you're going to love the remake. But it's a remake. It's not even new. In the chat, I see remakes can be awesome. Yes, remakes can be awesome. I'm not knocking remakes. But is there anyone in the chat that can look at me honestly and say, Demon Souls is the greatest exclusive console launch game in the history of consoles? Is anyone willing to say a remake versus a brand new game is a bigger deal at launch? And that it's the best of all time? Breath of the Wild was not exclusive to Switch. So Breath of the Wild would not count. In the way he phrased it, Breath of the Wild would not count. So we're not talking about best launch game. We're talking about best exclusive launch game. So Breath of the Wild would not count in that because it was also on Wii U. Ironically, Demon Souls is on PlayStation 3, but what do I know? Super Smash Bros. Melee. Like, there's a bunch. 3D All Stars isn't a launch game. The Animator. It's not a launch game, so that won't count. Like, I know some people in the chat are going to favor Mario. Halo Combat Evolved. Bam. Mic drop. Halo Combat Evolved. Halo was a launch game for Xbox. Halo. You're going to tell me Demon's Souls, a remake, is a bigger deal launch game? Best of all time than Halo? You're going to say it's better than Mario 64, Super Smash Bros. Melee? Hell, I wouldn't even say it's better than Killzone that came out on PlayStation 4. Because at least Killzone was a brand new game you couldn't actually play anywhere else. You could still go play Demon's Souls. Here, let me show you guys something. You see this PlayStation 3 that I smashed with the sledgehammer that still turns on? I can play Demon's Souls on this. Right now. I can play Demon's Souls. Like, what the hell? Like, it's such a dumb comment to me. To call me biased, but then bring up a remake as the greatest launch exclusive of all time. It's not. It's just factually not true. This person can feel that as their personal opinion. I'm guessing that they just haven't been through many console launches before. This comes off as someone who's not experienced with console launches. This Final Fantasy person, or Fanta Fantasy, whatever it is. Fanta Fantasy? Are they a fan of the orange soda? Orange soda. John, the disk drive doesn't work anymore. But it turns on, and I can boot digital games on it. But the disk drive doesn't work anymore. Am I an Xbox fanboy? Absolutely not. My channel name is Nintendo Prime. I'm wearing an NES hat. I cover mostly Nintendo stuff. I know my back wall shows an Xbox, but if I get rid of this display capture quick, you'll see what shelf has more shit on it. My Nintendo shelf or the Xbox that just let me go this way, that just has a system on it. And even then, it's got PC parts, Ryzen, it's got a sound card there, it's got Medieval Total War 2. But then over here, you got all this Nintendo stuff. I'm clearly biased for Nintendo if I'm biased for... Oh, again, I keep forgetting. I got to turn this thing off. So there's my Nintendo shelf. Look at all that Nintendo shit. Like, clearly I'm biased for Nintendo. The name of the channel is Nintendo Prime. Most of the crap I have... I don't have, like, any other gaming shirt but one Sega shirt. All my gaming shirts are Nintendo related. Like, I'm biased for Nintendo. Openly, admittedly biased for Nintendo. Always have been, and I'm still super critical of them. Xbox fanboy. See, that's the dumbest statements. If I'm a fanboy for anything, it's Nintendo, but I don't think I'm a fanboy for any company because fanboys are blind to criticism of their companies. That's generally the accepted vernacular of a fanboy. You attack other companies to build your company up, and you're unwilling to accept criticisms of the company that you're a fan of. I'm not that. I criticize Nintendo more than anybody. In fact, I get attacked by Nintendo fans for how much I criticize Nintendo. Like, it sounds like I'm being all harsh to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X right now. You should have saw me blasting Switch at launch. Connectivity issues with the left Joy-Con. Really dumb, these stupid things. Let me grab one here. These Joy-Con straps, these stupid things. How easy you could put them on wrong and break the clip on your Joy-Con. There's Joy-Con wobble. I talked about Nintendo Switch systems being warped because the dock itself was warped. I talked about the screens getting scratched by the dock because the first edition docks did not have, padding in it. I talked about all of the Switch launch issues. I admitted it was unacceptable. Like, I was harsher on Nintendo than I'm being on the other platforms. Because I'm a bigger fan of Nintendo than the other platforms. So naturally, when issues crop up, I don't just pass them off as, oh, it's okay. Oh, it doesn't matter. No, it does matter. People shouldn't be having these issues. But they do every time. Every console launch. Every console launch they do. How are they brainwashing their fans? Because they have a moniker saying, power your dreams. How are they brainwashing their fans? Like, legitimately, if you're in the chat and you're going to sit here and make a statement, make what comes across as a very biased statement like that, defend it. Give me your evidence. Prove that Microsoft is brainwashing their fans. And by the way, doing so differently than any other company. By saying it's the most powerful console in the world. But it's a statement of fact. From a raw power perspective, it's the most powerful console in the world. That's not brainwashing. We have yet to see that power difference matter, but it's a statement of fact. It is the most powerful console in the world. That's not brainwashing their fans. It's a statement of truth. From a technical perspective, it's the most powerful system out there. How's that any different than NVIDIA that's still going to, argue that the best gaming GPU in the world is the RTX 3090 in comparison to the 6800 XT or whatever? Like, they're still going to argue that the 3090 is better, even if the 3800 XT outperforms it in some cases, because from a pure technical perspective, there's more teraflops on a 3090. It's not false marketing. It's a statement of fact. We just haven't seen games prove that it makes a difference. We haven't seen games prove the power difference has mattered. It exists, but it hasn't mattered yet. But we also haven't seen games made exclusively for next gen. So it's not false marketing. It's not false marketing. Just because games are performing better on PlayStation 5 in many cases doesn't make it false marketing. The statement of most powerful console ever, the statement isn't your games perform best on our system compared to any other system ever made. That's not the statement. The statement is we have more power in our system than anyone has ever had in a system before, in a console before. That's just a fact-based statement. But what you learn, and if you're a PC gamer, you know this especially, having the most powerful GPU or the most powerful CPU doesn't always equal the best gaming performance. There's a difference between what's the most powerful and what's best for gaming. We are seeing the PlayStation 5 being able to clock at higher clock speeds is able to potentially squeeze more gaming performance than something that has a higher teraflop. But this is also all on cross-generation games. We haven't seen any new next-gen games that only make games for Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 and actually seen a difference. We don't know because they don't exist yet. I don't know how long we're going to have to wait for one. It could be a year, it could be 2 years before they stop making games cross-gen, but it's going to be a bit before we actually know what the power difference is and the speed difference is and how much it matters. I will always stand by. All these cross-gen games are not a good head-to-head measure of anything. They're just not. And I'll put this out there. A majority of AAA cross-platform games, this is a credit to Sony, a majority of AAA cross-platform games are made for PlayStation 4 first. Okay? It's just a fact. There's 100+ million PlayStation 4s. There's 40, maybe 50 million Xbox Ones out there. They're making their games for PlayStation first and then bringing them to Xbox. So when you consider the game is designed for PlayStation first, Xbox second, when you're seeing cross-gen, what are you going to notice? The games obviously perform better on a PlayStation than they do on an Xbox because they're designed for PlayStation first. Is that going to be true once we're done with cross-gen games? I have no idea. But obviously with cross-gen games are going to favor PlayStation 4. I kind of had this feeling in the back of my mind, it's going to probably favor PlayStation 4, favor PlayStation 5 because they're made for those systems first. But we'll see when we actually get next-gen exclusives. And let's say what true was the Xbox 360. When you saw cross-gen with Xbox and Xbox 360 back in the day, when we started getting Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 exclusive games, PlayStation 3 was the more powerful platform, but games performed better on the Xbox 360. Again, being the most powerful platform doesn't always mean games perform best on your platform. We'll have to wait till we get next-gen exclusives before we know. Like, not exclusives to each console. I mean, multi-platform exclusive games. So again, the Maddens, the NBA 2Ks, the Call of Duties, when they're done making the games, cross-gen. I don't know when they're going to be done. Maybe they'll be done as soon as the next holiday. I think that's the hope for a lot of next-gen platform homers, is that when we get the holiday 2021, all those third-party games can be like, all right, you can only play those on next-gen. Now we can see what next-gen can actually do. I don't think right now we've seen any real showcase of next-gen. Demon's Souls looks great, but it's a remake. I don't think we've seen the actual power of next-gen in game form yet. I think we're still waiting. Now, Ratchet & Clank on PlayStation 5 is a next-gen exclusive. Oh, does that look good? That looks good. That looks next-gen to me. That looks like something I could never experience before. But not here yet. So, but again, that also isn't cross-platform, so you're not going to multi-platform, so you're not going to see a real comparison between that and the Series X. I'm going again through these comments. Xbox fanboy alert. Less than 0.2% of people. Again, these are just stats people are just pulling out their ass. Let's see here. Xbox bricked after 1 month. So I'm buying a PlayStation 5. If I miss pre-order on November 19th, I'm buying a PC. Okay. I own a gaming PC too, so I have a laptop that can kind of game. I bought it more for programming, so it doesn't have the most powerful GPU. So why are gaming review websites giving the console a 9 out of 10? Either they aren't spending enough time doing their jobs, or are forcing reviews out, or lying just to please Sony. No. For starters, this shouldn't come as a surprise. When review units are sent out, review units are typically hand-picked. Okay? So what I mean is they've already been tested and tested extensively before they're sent to reviewers. So last thing these companies want are to send out a bunch of review units and have their systems just brick well in the hands of reviewers. So they get sent out systems that are confirmed to work and not have a majority of the issues. Okay, so reviewers are already sent. It's kind of like this happens in PC, by the way, and this is why PC tech reviewers will even note this. So when they're sent product, when PC tech reviewers are sent the new CPUs, or today I think the 6000 series GPU reviews are going out. Tech reviewers always note when they get this that they could have hand-picked components. Okay, these components could be the best of the bunch, aka they overclock the best, they have no issues, or the least amount of issues compared to when consumers buy it. So they always note when review things are sent, when review pieces of hardware are sent to anyone, they're typically hand-picked units. So you're not going to get a fair assessment of what an average consumer going to the store and buying one would be like. Because you're not getting a hand-picked unit. You're getting whatever unit came off the factory that got basic testing, if it got any testing at all. So, yeah, that's a thing, too, with reviewers. So you're always going to see less issues out of reviewers. As for why they're saying 9 out of 10, because the PlayStation 5 legitimately has a lot of cool shit. It does. Astrobot, DualSense controller, freaking amazing. Sackboy, freaking amazing. The game hint system, freaking amazing. The UI changes, freaking amazing. Speeds of everything, freaking amazing. Like, there's a lot of great things with PlayStation 5. And I want to put out there all the virtues of PlayStation 5 once I own one. I don't speak from personal experience. The reason you hear me talk more about Xbox than PlayStation 5 isn't because I'm an Xbot. Isn't because I'm an Xbox fanboy. I successfully got a pre-order in for Xbox Series X. I actually successfully got 3 pre-orders in for Xbox Series X. I didn't get one successful PlayStation 5 pre-order. I tried, and I failed. I could not get a pre-order for PlayStation 5. Why? Because the pre-orders were gone before the end of the damn Sony event in my area. My number one way I got an Xbox pre-order is I went out to GameStop in the middle of a frickin' pandemic and waited with all of you on a live stream to get my pre-order in for many hours. Wasn't even an option for me to do that with PlayStation 5 because my local stores all sold their copies sold their available pre-orders while the PlayStation 5 event was still going on. Before it even ended, you could not get pre-orders in my area anymore. So then I had to fight with people online. You know about how hard it was to fight with people online for PlayStation 5 systems. I tried, and I failed. So why don't I own a PlayStation 5 right now? It's not even about the money being raised for it. It's because I tried and failed to get a pre-order in. So when you hear me talk more about the Series X, it's because I was able to get one. I was able to get one much easier than I was able to get a PlayStation 5. And I realized a lot of people still had a hard time getting an Xbox, and that's fine. Just for me, having a set time, having retail stores not allow pre-orders until that time, I was able to get pre-orders in, 3 of them, for an Xbox Series X at 3 different resellers: Amazon, Target, and GameStop locally. I got rid of my other 2 pre-orders, and I kept my GameStop one because I could pick it up in person. I prefer picking up in person always over online. Boxes get kicked. I don't, whatever. If I deal with an in-person thing, if I have issues, I can go back to that store and return it and get my money back. I don't have to go through any online forums or anything. Or I could, obviously, a lot of stores are telling people, hey, you can come to us, but it might be forever before you can get a new system. Or you can, use your warranty claim and have them send you a system directly, which will probably be faster, which it is. People filing warranty claims with PlayStation 5 are getting systems faster than when they go back to the retail store and say, hey, I'd like to exchange this. They'll be like, well, it's going to be a month or 2 months. Most retail stores don't even know when they're going to get more units in. So the point is that I talk more about Series X because I have one. It's not because I'm biased towards it. I have one. I'm physically playing one every day. I can safely say this past week, I have turned on my Xbox Series X at least once every day and played a game for at least 45 minutes every single day since Series X came out. I have days where I've spent 8 hours playing it. Okay? My Switch hasn't been turned on since I got a Series X. Does that mean I like it more than Switch? No. It's just that the Series X is new, and there's a lot of things I'm testing out, and there's new games I'm playing. But Age of Calamity comes out next week, or this week. Sorry, 4 days. I'll be playing the fuck out of Age of Calamity. So, I'm not done with Switch. It's just, it's not new right now. So I'm enjoying the new thing before I settle into what my regular routine is going to be between PC, Xbox, Switch, and then PlayStation 5. When I finally get one on hand, you'll notice for weeks on end, I'll be doing nothing but playing PlayStation 5 because it's new to me, and I'll have a whole bunch of games to play. So I know it feels like I'm biased, but I'm not. I tried. I couldn't get a pre-order. I mentioned it the day of the PlayStation 5 pre-orders being gone. Guys, I tried. I just couldn't get one. And I kept saying, I actually feel much better about my chances to get an Xbox Series X because no one can launch pre-orders until a set time on a set day, including in person. So it was really easy for me to get an in-person pre-order, really easy for me to even get online pre-orders since I knew when to look for them. Even though it was hard, sites were crashing. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. So, again, if it feels like I have this bias towards Xbox, it's just because I have one. Just wait till I get a PlayStation 5. Then tell me I'm biased for Xbox. If I have one, and then I'm still talking more Xbox than PlayStation 5. Tell me then. Until then, try to be understanding. I'm a consumer like everybody else. I'm fighting to get my hands on these systems like everybody else. I'm not a big enough channel where these systems are just dropped from the heavens into my lap. I have to fight for them like everybody else. The millions of people struggling to get a PlayStation 5, I'm right there with them. I'm struggling too. And now the problem is it's out, so I have to have the money on hand to buy it, which I don't have the money on hand, hence why I'm raising for it. Whereas the Xbox Series X, I get to pay that off over time. Can't do that now with PlayStation 5. I have to have the money right now. So, anyways, I think we've gone enough dug into those comments enough. As you can see, people just are upset because I said something bad about Sony. Boo-hoo. Xbox is bad too. Okay. Like, okay. The reason I said that I haven't had any issues really with my Xbox Series X is because I haven't. I've had some very minor issues in comparison to the stuff that PlayStation 5's having. I said that in the video. I can speak from personal experience. I can't speak from personal experience with the PlayStation 5 yet. So, sue me for not being able to get a freaking pre-order in for the craziest pre-order cycle for a console I've ever seen. Not for hardware I've ever seen. PC component hardware, crazy hard this year for pre-orders. Like, worse than PlayStation 5. But, damn. If anything, I'm a Nintendo fanboy. So, oh man, I gotta trim this up a little bit. It's getting a little raggedy. You guys like my Christmas lights back there? It looks better without this main light on. Let me show you guys. Turn off my little white light here. Yeah. But see what happens without my main light on is my camera has an issue with the lighting. So now it's really low frame rate. So I have to turn my light back on. But yeah, when the camera struggles with the low light, it affects the frame rate. Now, I'm actually I think the stream's at 60 FPS, but my camera's only at 30 right now. Because I have it set on 4K 30, because I've been recording a lot of footage on my memory card in 4K for the channel. And this camera only goes up to 30 FPS doing that, so I didn't change it back to 1080p like I normally do. On the bright side, I think it's focusing okay right now. I'm trying a different focus setting. It seems to be working a little better. Still has issues here and there. The beard was cool. I'm not shaving it off. What I do is, you see how long it is now? I basically don't let it get longer than it is now. So I maintain it. I maintain this. I don't grow it out so I have like this big, I don't like that. I maintain this current look. I like this current look. So I maintain it. Mr. Pumpkin back there. Yep, Mr. Pumpkin's behind the chat, staring at you guys. You already put up Christmas lights. Dude, we got Christmas lights on the outside of the house, too. My camera a little crooked? No, I think it's just the way my camera's pointing. So I know my shelves look slanted to you guys. They're not actually slanted. The camera's just kind of angled a certain way that makes it look slanted, but it's not. It's because this isn't a head-on shot. It's a little off to the side. Like, when I look up at the camera, like, I have to look at an angle. I did that on purpose because I knew I was going to have this thing up here that I was going to show today. So Gabriel Cuba says, why get an Xbox Series X if they don't have new games? LOL. For that, keep the Xbox One. One, I didn't have an Xbox One either. And I got PlayStation 5, no issues at all. That's great. Not everyone's having issues. Or issues that they complain about anyways. The reason I have an Xbox Series X is I'm a YouTube channel that covers video games. So chief reason number one is it's kind of sort of part of what I do with this channel as a gaming enthusiast. Got to have the new systems to play the new games, to talk about them. But there are no new games. No. Well, kind of. There's one, but it's not really worth talking about. But you get to play all your old games in 4K. You get to enjoy Game Pass. Let me ask you something. Why get an Xbox Series X if they don't have new games? For that, keep the Xbox One. Why upgrade your gaming PC when it's just going to be playing the same games? Why not just keep your old stuff and save the money? I don't know. Better frame rate? I don't know. Better resolution? I don't know. Better textures? Better visuals? Better performance? Better controllers? I don't know. Why the hell upgrade anything? Like, why upgrade your phone? Your old phone still makes phone calls. Your old phone still texts. You can own a flip phone, Razor flip phone from back in the early 2000s, man. You can still text message. You can still take pictures. You can still do phone calls. Those Razor flip phones, man. Why upgrade? Heck, get the old little Nokia ones. Why upgrade? You can text message, you can call, and you can take pictures. So why the hell do we have a new phone 20 plus years? Like, why? Everything you need a phone for, you could do 20 years ago. So why upgrade? Oh, the camera's better. Oh, internet browsing is easier. Oh, text messaging is easier. Oh, now I can do apps on here that I couldn't before. Oh, things are faster. Oh, things are snappier. There's quick resume. Like, why upgrade at all? That's the logic. Like, everyone thinks the only reason to upgrade is because I get new games. What about making my old games better? What about being able to turn on Doom Eternal and get 60 FPS or more at 4K? What about that? What about taking games that were near unplayable, like Ark Survival Evolved was nearly unplayable on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and running it at a crisp, smooth 60 FPS? Does that not matter? Am I not supposed to care about that? Am I not supposed to care about taking all my old gen games and actually making them look nice on my 4K TV? Like, the reason to upgrade is the reason to upgrade anything, because you want things to be better. It's a better gaming experience. It's not just about the new games. If you only buy systems for new games, then you should not own a PlayStation 5 unless you need it. Actually, you just don't own a PlayStation 5. Demon's Souls isn't a new game. Miles Morales playing your PlayStation 4. Why? Why do you own a PlayStation 5? Tell me one game on PlayStation 5 that is not available anywhere else. Because Demon's Souls is available on PlayStation 3. Why play it on PlayStation 5? Why are you playing that game on PlayStation 5? Oh, because it looks better? Runs better? Looks good on your 4K TV compared to the original? Holy shit. It's almost as if Demon's Souls is kind of like just an upgraded version of an old game. I'm not trying to knock people buying these systems, but we buy them for the same reasons you buy anything new. Because you want what you currently are doing to be better. Bug Snacks, there you go. Bug Snacks, that's why you're buying it. Astro's Playroom, sure. The point is, people buy new hardware because they want what they're currently doing to be better. Yeah, they also want new stuff. They also want new things they couldn't do on the old stuff. But they don't always get that on launch. I have an iPhone 12. There's nothing on this iPhone that I wasn't already doing on the 11 Pro Max. Nothing. Literally, you could tell me that this is an iPhone 10, and I probably wouldn't even be able to tell you the damn difference in most cases. Has a better camera, supposedly. Okay, I can't tell. Has a better screen, supposedly. Okay, I can't tell. Screen's more durable. What's it matter? I put a screen protector on anyways. It still scratches just as easy. Besides the boxier design, I couldn't tell you that I'm holding on to. I mean, heck, the thing has worse battery life than my 11 Pro Max did. Like, but what residual things do I notice? Well, some of my apps run just a little bit better. The multitasking is just a little bit easier. Upgrade worth it for me for that. It's not going to be worth it for everyone for that. You don't need to buy an Xbox Series X. Absolutely. Play your games on Xbox One. Don't buy a PlayStation 5. Play your games on PlayStation 4. Everything's going to be cross-gen for a while. But you want that better experience, right? You want the better resolution. You want the better frame rates. You want the prettier visuals. You want the DualSense controller. Buy the next-gen systems if those are things that matter to you and you can't wait. I always tell people, wait. Wait to buy next-gen. Always wait. Let all these issues get ironed out and patched out, then buy next-gen. That's what I always tell people. But I'm not most people. I am a tech enthusiast. First and foremost, before I'm a gamer, I'm a tech enthusiast. I want all the latest and greatest tech in my house yesterday. Last year. Last week. Because I like playing around with new tech. Bugs suck, but it's fun experiencing those bugs firsthand for me. I almost wish my Xbox Series X had more issues. You know how much more content I could make on my channel if my Series X had issues? But my Series X doesn't. So I don't have content to make. Not because there's not any new games, but because I've already made a review of the system, and that's it. If there was issues, I did a live stream putting liquid metal on. That was a big thing. I did my live stream about picking up the system, and then I did my live stream, or then I did a video on a review. If there was problems with my Xbox Series X, that's another video. Solving those problems could be another video. RMAing it and dealing with warranty information, that's another video. I would get more videos and have more views on my channel if my Xbox Series X had problems. So I don't care if tech has problems because it's just more content for me. I care so much that I don't want you guys to have these issues, but like systems having problems is content gold for YouTubers. But people get mad at me because, you're bringing up the PlayStation 5 issues. Okay, will you feel better when I make a video tomorrow about Xbox Series X issues? Are you going to feel better then, or I'm suddenly a Sony pony because I'm pointing out issues with the Xbox Series X? Or am I, a Nintendo drone for pointing out issues with both systems, but not Nintendo? Never mind that I've been pointing out issues with Nintendo systems for years. There's no winning when it comes to people who watch your videos because they don't consume all of your content. They don't know all the things you've ever said about every system ever. They don't know. They see Nintendo in the name of the channel. They see the NES hat and they're like, "Oh God, what a Nintendo fanboy." What gives you? This is just something to throw out there. In general, what gives you the presumption that someone is a fanboy of something? Because they're a fan of something? Okay. So, I own some Nintendo stuff, right? My channel name's Nintendo. Nintendo fanboy, but what do you actually know about me to state that I'm a Nintendo fanboy? Well, you run a Nintendo YouTube channel. Well, sure, but I cover all of gaming. If I was a Nintendo fanboy, why the fuck am I covering Xbox and PlayStation? Why would I even cover those systems? Why would I give a glowing review of the Xbox Series X? You guys see my Xbox Series X review? Why would I give such a good review of it if I'm a Nintendo fanboy? Wouldn't I find reasons to attack the system? Wouldn't I, after giving a really crappy review of the system, trying to attack it and talk about how it's not as good as Switch, wouldn't I then take a sledgehammer and just start bashing the shit out of it and making a video out of destroying it? Like, what makes people determine that you're a fanboy? Well, one, name of my channel makes people think I'm a Nintendo fanboy. Two, they see a video I make that is critical of something, but not critical of something that they don't own or they think is bad. So let's say you are a PlayStation fan. You've been a PlayStation fan forever, a PlayStation 5 fan, right? You see my video. That says, let me read the title here. The title of my video says, PlayStation 5 issues are piling up, including crashing, breaking of systems, freezing, the freezing of the systems, loud, etc. You see that title. PlayStation 5 issues are piling up. You go to it and you immediately have to say, PlayStation 5 is amazing. This guy's a fucking retard. He should be talking negative about Xbox. The irony is, fanboys trying to paint other people who say something negative about the thing that they are a fanboy of and trying to use the argument that the only reason you're saying these things is because you're a fanboy of something else. It's ironic. Fanboys are trying to call people who aren't fanboys. Maybe because it makes them feel better about themselves? I have no idea. Like, I'm not a fanboy for any of the companies. I am a fan of Nintendo. I'm a fan of Microsoft and Xbox. I'm a fan of gaming on PCs. And hopefully when I get a PlayStation 5, I'm officially a fan of PlayStation as well. But here's the thing. The only thing I have a bias for is Nintendo. I am biased for Zelda games. I am biased for the Big N because I grew up with the Big N. I didn't grow up with PlayStation. I didn't grow up with Xbox. I grew up with Nintendo. I have an admitted bias for Nintendo products. And I know it. And I admit it. And I don't shy away from it. And I don't act like it's some big negative in my ability to be a gamer that I'm biased for something. You know what bias means? You know ultimately what bias means? It means you enjoy something more than you enjoy something else. No one should apologize for their own enjoyment. I'm not going to apologize because I'm biased to Nintendo. I'm biased to Nintendo. Obviously. I cover Nintendo more at this channel than I do anything else. Obviously, I enjoy Nintendo products generally than anybody else. Obviously. I have a bias. And my bias is I know what I enjoy, so I play what I enjoy. It doesn't mean that my enjoyment of something needs to take the enjoyment of something away from other people. You can be just as biased for Sony, for Microsoft, for PC gaming, for gaming on smartphones. Be as biased for it as you want. Your enjoyment of that product doesn't affect my enjoyment of my preferred products. That's what sucks about the age of the internet. We are in this age where we feel like our bias towards something means we have to put down people who have a bias for other things to create our more enjoyment in the thing we're biased for. We need to justify our bias. Oh, I need to justify my fanboyism for PlayStation 5 by finding all these things that are residually wrong with the Xbox Series X. And oh my God, do you see? Like, I literally had someone yesterday arguing with me still about Xbox Series X's smoking, despite the fact that we know it's from vape pens. It doesn't matter. Xbox Series X is smoking. At least the PlayStation 5's not doing that. It's not doing that. It's just vape pens. Oh, you're just making up shit. I'm like, sure. Oh, let me guess. You heard that from Microsoft, didn't you? Microsoft's just lying. It's not vape pens. They're just trying to hide it. Like, can you sound anymore? Like, why do people need to put down other platforms to make themselves feel better about the platform they're with? My only conclusion I can have is that people that do this are just not happy. Maybe they're not happy with the purchase of their system, so they're trying to justify it. Maybe they're not happy in general with life. I almost feel kind of bad when people get this way. Because, one, to get that passionately upset means their priorities probably aren't straight anyways. And maybe gaming matters maybe a little more than it probably should to their life. And two, I get this feeling in general that some people are so unhappy that the only way they find happiness isn't even playing games. It's winning an argument, or at least feeling like they won an argument. I feel like this is true in politics and religion and anything in life. That sometimes it's not the positive result of something, like buying Demon Souls and then just having a blast with it. That should be all the justification you need to yourself that you've made the right choice in what system you bought, right? Buying an Xbox Series X and just having a blast with the games and the backwards compatibility and quick resume. You shouldn't need other people to be put down for you to enjoy it. But some people enjoy putting other people down because it makes them feel superior, and that feeling of superiority gives them a little hit of dopamine in their brain and makes them feel happy. Not the act of playing the games, the act of I own this person because I made a superior purchasing decision and this person's an idiot. Now I feel like they're an idiot and that makes me feel good about myself. It's dumb. It's this innate ability. We got to put other people and other things down to make ourselves feel better. So honestly, fanboys, I kind of feel like I feel bad for them because fanboys probably aren't happy with themselves. And happiness is a big thing. We're all trying to be happy in this world. So that's just a theory I have. Obviously, I can't prove it because I don't know all these people, but it's just a theory I have that people just aren't happy. And that's what leads to fanboyism, is people aren't happy. People can have an innate bias. You know, I have, we have a friend, a couple friend. Like, technically, you're wrong. A bias means you have an opinion on something based on past experiences. Well, that's what a bias is. I have a bias that I prefer Nintendo games based on my past experiences with Nintendo games. Exactly, that's what a bias is. But so everyone has biases. I've talked about this in length and in depth in the past. That there's no such thing as an unbiased review. Because if it's a game reviewer, they played games. To have an unbiased review would mean they don't have an opinion. So, yeah, obviously we all have an opinion, and we all have past experiences that formulate what we're looking for or what we enjoy in games. So, my whole thing in this is just people need to find a way to be happy and do it without putting other people down. And I don't know if we'll ever reach a point that that's a thing. Fanboyism to me is less toxic. Like, people always view it, oh, it's so toxic. Look at this. I think it's less toxic. I think it's just pointing out that we're human and we're not happy. I view every fanboy post as like a, God, I wonder what's going on in that person's life. Like, why are they not happy? You know, okay, if they love their PlayStation 5 so much, why are they here? Oh, I got to defend it. Why do you have to defend it if you love it so much? Like, okay, you love it so much. What do you gain by defending it? What difference does watching a negative video about something you enjoy give you? Oh, because you actually enjoy defending something more than you enjoy using it. Why? Because you're not happy. You're miserable. Again, running theory. Can't prove it. But I've been through phases like this in my life where I've been sad. So yeah, I have a bias for Nintendo. I'll always have a bias. I have a bias in general for a lot of games. I have a bias for Madden. People hate on EA and Madden. I still play Madden to this day. I have a bias. So no, I can't give you objective reviews. My Xbox Series X review, way far from being objective. There's no such thing as an objective review. You'll never get an objective review from me. But what you will get is an honest review. I'm going to tell you my honest thoughts. It might not be the most in-depth. You know, people talked about, I had someone message me, you know, your Xbox Series X review, you didn't go over this, you didn't go over X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, because I went over using the system like I'm a gamer. I didn't go over, well, I got to test out every little, I got to go play a 4K video. I got to put this. I'm like, I'm sorry. Most people, I used it in the way that I would use it. I reviewed it as someone who's using it every day. I didn't review it as someone who is trying to make sure every minor thing about it's working. No. I bought a Series X. I'm playing a Series X. Let me tell you about it. That's my review. My review is telling you my experience playing the system, the way that I play it. So, besides, on the Series X review, I had a lot more fun with the intro than the actual review. I had a 2-minute and 40-second intro. The longest intro I think I've ever made for a video ever. And my God, was that, dude. Maybe that's why people think I'm biased, man. That intro to me is such an epic thing. It shows off quick resume. It shows off the system booting up. It shows off the system physically. It shows off playing games and like the cuts I made in it and the dramatic music. Dude, I really enjoyed making that. And what PlayStation fans might not realize is I'm going to use that same music and do the same thing when I review the PlayStation 5. And when the next when the next Switch whatever comes out, I'm going to use the same music for that, and I'm going to do a 2-minute 40 intro for that as well. Like, so it looks like, oh, he's so biased. Look at this epic intro he made, because he clearly, I'm like, no, I just thought it looked cool. I enjoyed the intro more than I enjoyed the review. But that's just me. That's just me. Gin Jerky says, that's the content I come here for, honesty. Even though I might not agree with you on things, but that's the thing. All I can do is just tell you my opinions. I never claim they're unbiased. I never claim to be objective. These are my honest thoughts on this game or this system or this feature or this thing happening in the gaming industry with this developer or this. Like, I just give you my honest thoughts. You don't have to agree with them. It's okay. And I'm not going to say I haven't been wrong. I've given opinions before that turned out to be wrong in the end. I've made predictions that have been wrong. Like, it's okay. It's okay to be wrong. People don't like to be wrong because being wrong is like a negative feeling versus being right. Being right gives you a positive boost. Being wrong gives you a negative one. That's a huge part of fanboyism as well. We got to be right. We have to be right. We have to be right. We couldn't have made the wrong decision. Have to be right. Have to defend it to no end. Or you just play games because you enjoy games. Like I always say, I'm a tech enthusiast and a gamer first. What I prefer to play comes after. What I prefer as a company comes after. I have bias, but I'm a tech enthusiast and a gamer. That's what I describe myself. I don't walk around, when people recognize me. I've had a couple people recognize me when I was picking up the Series X. Like, I don't walk around and be like, yeah, I'm that Nintendo guy. Like, no, I'm that YouTuber that makes video game content and happens to call the channel Nintendo Prime. Like, that was the cool thing is when I was picking up, and you guys saw it on live stream, when I was picking up my Series X, some people that recognized me from my YouTube channel, and they're like, dude, you were that guy that was out here streaming, about getting a pre-order in for Xbox Series X. Like, yeah, I was. Dude, you were that dude. I watched your stream the other day when you were talking about PlayStation 5 or when you were trying to help people get pre-orders. Or I saw this or I saw, like, people are seeing my content, not just, like, it's kind of cool when I see people in real life because they're like, you're not just a Nintendo guy. Like, you're legitimately a gamer. Here you are. If you're this big Nintendo fan, why the hell are you waiting 7 hours in the cold in the middle of winter in Wisconsin for an Xbox Series X? Like, they're starting to see me as just a gamer. Like, you're just a gamer, man. You're just out here because you enjoy gaming. We watch your content, and the more we watch your channel, the more we see you're covering everything. You're covering Sony. You're covering Xbox. You're covering Nintendo. One thing I want to cover more is PC. I'm not doing a good job covering PC gaming, so I want to get more into that as well. Like, you know, we have the launch of World of Warcraft expansion pack coming up here in like a week. I think on the 23rd. I want to cover that because that's something I'm interested in. You know, and I want to, and there's the question, you know, can this, quote unquote, save World of Warcraft? And then talk about what World of Warcraft was at its peak, what it's become, and what this might do for the future of it. That's something I want to do a video on. Do I think a World of Warcraft video, like, fits with my channel? Probably not. Outside of the fact that it's a game. So I'm probably going to make a video on it just because I want to. I try to cover everything. I know some Nintendo fans are a little annoyed when they followed me through 3D All-Stars and now they're seeing all this coverage of the other systems, but ebbs and flows. It ebbs and flows. When there's major Nintendo game stuff, we'll talk about that. Ebbs and flows. We have Age of Calamity this week. I'm sure I'll have some videos on that. I'm excited for that. It's my most anticipated game of the year so far. But I don't really have much to talk about with it right now. I'm trying to be a little bit spoiler-free with it to myself because I want to experience it myself. I'll be live streaming it day one. Miyamoto's birthday today. He turned 68. For those who don't know. Shigeru Miyamoto. Turned 68 today. He's getting old, guys. He's getting old. He's not going to be around forever. Solomon Caesar says, sometimes bias can't be helped. I spent my entire childhood exposed to Nintendo, and even though I'm a big gamer, I've only had a Nintendo console at all. Depends on your experiences. PlayStation and PC games? Yep, Miyamoto, man. Shigeru Miyamoto has turned 68 today. Han Solo. Bias towards Star Wars, Nintendo, DC. Can you put game saves on USB on a Series X? That I don't know, Nick. I haven't tried. I don't have an external hard drive right now. The one I used to have a 1 terabyte one. It died a long time ago, and I haven't bought a new one yet. I need to get one just to store video files anyways, so maybe I'll pick one up over the holidays here as they go on sale and get a few drives. Then I can tell you if game saves can be transferred or not. I'm not sure if game saves can be transferred or not. I'm not running into storage issues, though. I thought I would, but I was wrong. See, and that's another thing. I was wrong. I thought storage issues would be a bigger issue at launch, but it's really not. Not even on the Series S. What do you imagine is going to define this new gen? Back in the 360 era, you could think about multiplayer. That's not what I even remember. Like 360 era, and because I was already playing Halo Online on Xbox and LAN parties, and multiplayer gaming existed before then. I look at 360 and PlayStation 3 era. What defined it is they were the first HD systems. What do we call them? The HD twins, the twin towers of HD. They were the first HD systems. That's what they're going to be remembered for, and that's what they'll always be remembered for. Well, 360 might be remembered for Red Ring of Death, which affected 25 to 50% of launch systems. Do you want to talk about launch issues? That was a bad launch issue. What's going to define this gen? If I had to think of anything, the SSDs. Load time. Load time. This is going to be the gen when load times are close to eliminated. And that's going to be the huge thing people are going to remember from this generation. This is the generation that showed us that we didn't need to wait several minutes to play games. That we didn't need to wait 8 minutes to load Red Dead Redemption 2. This is going to be the gen that shows us then we don't need load times anymore. That might seem like such a minor thing, but anything that saves people time is a positive. Love your channel and all your content. Keep it the good work. Thanks. My eyes shine bright in the lighting. I also have blue eyes. I don't know if you guys can tell. I don't know how well it shows on camera. But I've got some really beautiful, if I do say so myself, not to get a little cocky, but I have some beautiful blue eyes. I don't know how well it shows on camera, because when I'm looking at the camera, I can't see my own eyes because the footage is down here, but the camera's up here. Goes with my shirt. Yeah, this is usually an undershirt. I have an outfit that I wear that this is an undershirt for, but I haven't really fully gotten ready today yet. I was going to make a video this morning, but I was struggling with some editing, so that's why I'm live streaming right now. I decided to stream instead of make the video. Although I'll probably end the stream soonish. And then start working on my next video. Is there any topics you guys want me to cover today? I'll just throw it out there. Is there any topics that you would like to see me cover today? Any video game stuff? I mean, I'm an open book. I'm willing to look at anything when it comes to gaming. Let's talk about eye color. Sound good? Will I review the new Mario game? Oh, no, it's not a game. Yeah, you're talking about that little square. Yeah, no, I don't own one, so no, I won't be reviewing it. Can't review what I don't own. I thought about doing like a review of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I don't really do game reviews. I guess it'd be more like an impressions, but I need to play more of it. I need to sit down and play a lot more of it, and record a lot more footage too. For some reason, I can only record at 1440p if I want 60 FPS. I can record 4K if I want 30 FPS, but I want that 60 FPS. So the footage in it would only be 1440p, which I think is perfectly fine for YouTube anyways. So I thought about, because I'm really enjoying that game, I thought about, sinking another 10 hours or so into it, and then maybe doing an impression video on it. But again, that's something that wouldn't be till like probably end of the week, because I got to get a really long play session in. Is Sackboy cross-gen? I'm curious. So Sackboy, no one's talking about Sackboy. I was watching someone stream it the other day. Yeah, okay, yeah, Sackboy's cross-gen. So I was just looking at it. Sackboy on PlayStation comes. It's a cross-gen title. All right. So Sackboy, I want to give some credit here. I don't talk about this often, and I need to play it firsthand. But I watched like a 5-hour live stream of Sackboy. Is it just me, or does that game look as good as Super Mario 3D World? Like, not just look, like play as good. I don't know if any of you guys have played it yet. And I was kind of like, oh, Sackboy, it's like this spin-off of Little Big Planet, who cares? But like, it legitimately looks like it's as good as Super Mario 3D World, just without Mario. Maybe I'm crazy, and I'll have to play it myself when I get a PlayStation 5. But dude, Sackboy looks legit as hell. And that might even be the headline if I do some impressions. Dude, Sackboy is the new Mario or something. I don't know. Whatever I decide to do it to get people to click and watch. It just looks really good. The game looks fantastic. John says, I think an interesting video would be a side-by-side comparison of the Series X hooked up to a 4K TV and a 1080p TV. You might not be able to tell the difference at normal viewing distance. That's going to be tough. So the reason that'll be tough is I have my 4K TV and it's huge. I don't have another TV in my house that's as big as this one. So to do a comparison like that, you would need to have basically the exact same brand, TV side by side, the same size, with the only model differences being 4K and 1080. Now, I can run it at 4K on this TV and then turn the TV. The TV has a 1080p setting. You can down the resolution. So I could use the same TV, run it at 4K, and doing direct feed capture is not going to mean anything. So you'll have to point the camera at the TV and do a capture of the TV playing stuff at 4K, and then do a capture of it when I set the TV to 1080p and set the console to 1080p, and see what happens then. That is something I could do that way, but I don't have two of the same size TVs at different resolutions. Because if you look at a smaller 1080p screen, it's going to look pretty good. You know, like that little portable monitor I had in my live stream, like you can play the Xbox Series X on there and it actually looks pretty good because the screen is smaller. So you don't need 4K per se on a screen that small. That would be an interesting video. But I'd have to try to do it and see if a difference could even be had. One thing that might be interesting is seeing if game performance changes. So if I'm running it on my 4K TV, you know, sports 120 FPS, but what happens if I down the resolution? I force the system down to 1080. Do I get better frame rates then? Do I get better performance if I just turn off 4K on the system? Let the TV upsample the 4K or whatever. I would presume, yes. I would presume you get better performance. But would I notice it? It's a good question. I don't know if that's been answered yet. I don't know if anybody's done that. We've seen comparisons of here's the Series X compared to the Series S. But what about a Series X not running at 4K? Does a Series X not running at 4K give it better performance? I don't know. I think that's an interesting question. If it makes a difference, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it still renders at. Maybe it's still upwards of 4K, then downsamples the 1080. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't think anyone has tried. Has anyone tried that yet? Like, yes, there's people running it on their 1080p TVs, but is there anyone that like has a 4K TV but then chooses not to run it at 4K just to see if it runs better? I don't know. I mean, PCs will perform better. You can have a 4K monitor, but if you down your resolution, you'll get better performance. I wonder if that's true with the Xbox too. It is using PC components. I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like that might be a fun test just to do on my own, just because I'm curious now. I'm legit curious, and I gotta find a measuring tool for FPS. So all these places that measure FPS, it's a tool you can put into your software. It's a software tool you can run that'll show you the frame rates. So like they're not counting the frames and like making those graphs individually. It's a program. I gotta figure out what program that is that'll check the FPS in your video to show you the FPS drops. Because you don't always notice it with the naked eye. Sometimes it's more noticeable when you have the graphs. Mr. Pumpkin scares you. When do I think there'll be more Xboxes in stock? Black Friday, I think you'll see some of both system. After Black Friday, 2021. I honestly think they're going to have an impossible time keeping these things in stock. And Nintendo Switch after Black Friday is going to be really hard to get to, I think, for the rest of the holiday. What does Pumpkin scares me like analog? All right, I'm gonna head out, finish getting ready for the day, and then figure out what I'm gonna do for my next video. That's a very interesting concept, John, for me to kind of play around with resolutions and see what happens. Did you get footage of the heat output of your system and compare it with others who didn't mod their Xbox to see what is the degree difference? I don't have. You need a heat camera, and I don't have one because you can download apps for it, but without a heat camera, you know. I don't trust the accuracy of some of the apps, and the apps are like, oh yeah, it's kind of like those apps that say, oh, we'll tell you what the temperature is. I'm like, you could tell me the temperature of what exactly? You can't tell me the temperature of my hand or the temperature of the air around me. So, like, heat camera, you know, there's heat camera apps, thermal camera apps. But I'm pretty sure these thermal camera apps are not very accurate in terms of the degrees. Yeah. So you have to have one of those heat cameras, and I don't have one. Like this one's called Rigid Thermal. 1.7 stars. Supposed to tell you the temperature. This is not worth your time. It doesn't even work. So, thank you for subscribing, OmniMac. But I do have a video for the Xbox Series X. Like, so I did on the 10th of November. I put on my liquid metal. So on the 10th of November of 2021, we'll take the Xbox Series X back apart and see what happened with the liquid metal after 1 year. And then we'll do it again after 2, and then after 3, until it doesn't work anymore. All right, guys. I'll catch you later. Peace out.